I think increasingly successful global companies today aren't just exporting intellectual property and know-how into markets where they operate. Mm-hmm. They're themselves learning organizations, and I think that's what we endeavor to do as well. Our global corporate strategy is to manage higher-end hospitality brands and not be real estate investors. Mm-hmm. Thus far, we found that the demand for our properties by itself is sufficient to make our brands an attractive proposition for developers. If I look at our China experience, coping with extreme growth, the idea that we have today, for example, 100 hotels in China and another 100 under construction, that we hire 20,000 associates a year, that we have so many projects underway, that Chinese travelers tend to make their reservations from a mobile device at the last minute, that our customer base is more fragmented than it is in the developed world. Those are all things that test our ability as a global company. And as we learn about those things, make us better at transferring that knowledge to other markets around the world. Many of the things that we've seen in China won't necessarily be the same here in India, but we certainly will have learned things from China that will make us a stronger competitor here in India, and also, even more importantly, a better partner to the developers that we work with here. Our business is about making guests and customers happy so that we can create a return for the real estate investors who own the hotels that we operate. I think it's very important in any market to have the right local representation and to have people who both understand your company and the local market. I think the era of the expatriate leader who rotates through for 2 or 3 years is long past. And having that right balance of global consistency and local relevance and understanding is so important. So whether there's a governance issue in India today, whether there's a challenging partner dynamic in Brazil tomorrow, whether there's a tax situation anywhere in the world as governments become more desperate to balance their fiscal situation, those are things that we're better at dealing with by not being novices in the markets. We've been in India for nearly 40 years. We know that there will be fits and starts, that there will be supply-demand imbalances, that there will be crises and disruptions, and that's part of the haphazard process by which countries develop. And India may be more extreme than others in that respect, but it's not unique. And yet, the forces of globalization, we believe, are unstoppable. And the influence of globalization on the Indian market in terms of creating travel demand are likewise almost inexorable at this point. Given the fact that some 10 million people per year will be moving to cities in India, and that increasingly the ranks of the affluent and those that can afford higher end brands will increase exponentially, not being here, I think, is a bigger risk and a bigger downside than being here. The next two to come would be St. Regis. So we have the St. Regis in Noida, recently announced. And then we have three W's right now underway. Goa, here also in Delhi, and the third in Mumbai.